Hey guys, it's Chris at Highline Guitars. In today's video, I'm going to be starting part one of my next guitar build. And from the title of this video, it should be obvious that what I plan to do is I'm going to build two different guitars at the same time. I'm going to be making a hollow body guitar and a solid body guitar. Now that by itself isn't anything out of the ordinary. Guys do that all the time. It's how I'm going to do it that makes a difference. And rather than just sitting here trying to explain it to you verbally, we're going to jump on the computer and I'm going to show you what I'm developing in my mind and the idea behind this and how I plan to build these two guitars, because it's going to be really unique. And I'm not sure if anyone else has ever done it like this before. So let's jump in on the computer. But before we do, I want you to be aware that this is just sort of a concept right now. I haven't actually started making the files. So what you're going to see is conceptual, and I still have more development work to do with those designs. And that's going to be detailed a little bit more in future episodes. So let's jump on the computer and I'll explain what I'm thinking. I'm in Adobe Illustrator, and what you see on the screen here is the shape that I'm going to make for the hollow body guitar. The first thing you're probably thinking is, wow, that looks a lot like a Gibson ES335 body shape. And you wouldn't be too far wrong with that. Here's actually a blueprint for an ES335. So you can see the similarity in shape. However, in truth, where I took the design from was a design that I created. It's a plan that is available on my eGuitar Plans website, as well as my Highline Guitars merch store, which is displayed below the description for this video. And I call this the Model 11, and it's a traditional hollow body style guitar. What I've done, however, is I've just isolated the body here. And my plan is I'm going to make this a little bit differently than what you would expect a guitar like this to be made. Typically, when you make an ES335 or a 355 style guitar, what you do is you take thin strips of wood, and they're about 1/8 of an inch or 3 millimeters thick, and you bend them into the shape of the body. And typically this is done using, in the modern era at least, it's you use a side bending jig with a heat blanket. If you're old school, you'll use a bending iron and a squirt bottle full of water to get that shape. And you don't have to use a thin strips of wood like I just mentioned. You can also take sheets of veneer and laminate them together and then bend those into the shape. In fact, that's I believe how Gibson does all of their ES335 and 355 guitar bodies. They use a laminate, but then they bend it into the shape using these great big fancy bending jigs. At any rate, my plan is a little bit different. I'm going to do this more like a semi-hollow body guitar design. I'm going to take a big thick slab of wood. It's going to be about 2 inches thick, 22 inches in length and 18 inches wide. And I'm going to cut the sides out of that slab of wood. So it's actually going to look something like this when looking from the top down. Now, I'm not sure how thick it's going to be. Right here in this drawing, it's 1/4 of an inch thick. But I may do it even thinner. I may do them 1/8 of an inch thick. I think that would be better. And then once I have those sides cut out of that big slab of wood, I can glue in a center block and then glue on the back and the top, and I'll have my hollow body guitar body. Now, I know what you're thinking as you look at this and you imagine what it would be like carving this out of a big slab of wood. That means all of this material around the perimeter as well as on the inside is waste. The only thing I'm using is the inside of this shape here for the sides. Well, that would be almost an irresponsible waste of wood. All this wood would be essentially discarded. However, I'm going to do this a little bit differently, and that's where the solid body guitar comes into play, because the solid body is going to be cut out of that center piece. So I'm getting two guitars out of one blank, a hollow body and a solid body. Now, what I want to do is take you into Rhinoceros 3D so I can sort of show you this a little bit more clearly in case it's not making a lot of sense. Hey guys, if you're enjoying this video or any of the videos that I produce on my Highline Guitars YouTube channel, I would appreciate it if you might consider helping to support my channel. There's a couple of ways you can do it. You can click the subscribe button down below. You can also click the join or the subscribe plus button. And when you do that, you can become a member of the channel. And when you're a member, you're going to have access to my members only videos, which are versions of all the videos that I make that contain a lot more information and detail than what I normally include in the videos that the general public gets to watch. Also, you can visit my eGuitar Plans website or my Highline Guitars merch store, and any purchase you make there is going to help support the channel so I can keep making these videos and sharing my knowledge and experience with you. And then, of course, if you want to keep it simple, you can click the thanks button down below and leave a small tip in the amount that you think is fair. And of course, at the very least, if you'd like to help support this channel and not spend any money at all, please consider clicking that thumbs up button down below. Now let's get back to the video. Now what you're looking at here is a 3D representation of that big slab of material that I'm going to carve all this out of. And I haven't decided what kind of wood I'm going to use for this. It's either going to be probably African mahogany or alder. It just depends on what I can get in wide enough pieces. And what I'm thinking I'll do is I'm going to cut two pieces from a 9-inch wide board and then glue them together to make an 18-inch wide board, and then I'll cut that 22 inches in length. That'll form the blank. But then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to carve away the material that will reveal the shape of the solid body as well as the inner portion of the hollow body guitar shape. Then from there I can remove the solid body portion and then proceed with cutting the outer part of that perimeter, and that's going to leave just the side shape for the hollow body. From there I can then glue in that center block, and that's going to support the neck, the pickups, and the bridge. And once I have that glued in, I can then focus on carving the back as well as the top, and those are probably going to be made out of maple. Again, there'll be two pieces glued together, and then I will carve it. And I want to do a carved top shape, so both the top and the back will likely be carved to create a shape that's similar to what we see with the Gibson ES 335 and 355 guitars. But then once that's done, I can glue the back and the top to the sides, and then I have a finished hollow body shape. And from there I can route the pockets for the pickup and the neck, as well as drill the holes for mounting the bridge. And then I can set that aside and take the solid body and do the same thing, routing the pockets for the neck, the pickups, as well as the control cavity on the back. So that's kind of the idea here, and I hope this all makes sense. Okay guys, well there you have it. That's pretty much the plan for what I'm going to be doing over the next couple of months. I'm not sure how many episodes this is going to take because it is, after all, going to be 2 guitars. But what I'm hoping is that for the next episode, maybe the next 2 episodes, so part 2 and 3, I'm going to focus on creating the files that I'm going to need to make the body and the neck as well. So what I will do is I'm going to set it up the way I've done my other guitar builds, but I have a feeling that this one's going to involve several additional carving operations with my CNC machine in order to accomplish what you've just seen me do. So I think it's going to result in a fairly complicated series of cutting operations. We'll see. I haven't gotten that far yet, and I still have a few things I need to think about, like the thickness of the sides. Do I want to go 1/8 of an inch, or do I want to go 1/4 of an inch? Does it even really matter? Maybe as far as weight, but I don't even think in that case it would be all that significant. So here I am going through that process of thinking it through on camera. That's how it happens as I'm designing guitars, is I spend a lot of time thinking about what I'm trying to accomplish and how each step impacts another step. and you've got to think them all through. It's almost like you have to visualize building the guitar all the way to completion before you actually do anything. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful. If so, give it a thumbs up. And as always, take care, stay safe, and I hope you'll be back for more episodes in what could be a very interesting guitar build.